If your heart feels heavy tonight, this psalm is for you. Not by accident, not by chance, not because you clicked the right video, but because this psalm is not a coincidence. Before you scroll, before you hesitate, before your mind starts telling you this is just another video, let me ask you something, and don't answer out loud. Just answer inside your heart. Have you been feeling tired? Not just physically, but tired in your soul? That kind of tiredness sleep doesn't fix. The kind of exhaustion that comes from carrying thoughts no one sees, from holding fears you don't talk about, from praying and wondering if your prayers are even being heard. Some nights, the world goes quiet, but your mind gets louder. Bills, deadlines, decisions you don't feel ready to make, mistakes you wish you could undo, fear about tomorrow, fear that what you're doing might not be enough. And in those moments, God can feel silent, not because he stopped speaking, but because life became too loud. If that sounds familiar, stay with me, because this psalm is not a coincidence. And the fact that you are here right now listening means something deeper is happening. There are people listening to this who look strong on the outside, but inside, they are barely holding together. You smile, you show up, you do what needs to be done, but when the night comes, when the distractions fade, when you're finally alone with your thoughts, that's when the weight hits. You replay conversations. You question decisions. You wonder if you missed a sign from God. You wonder if you waited too long or moved too fast. You ask yourself questions like, am I on the right path? Why does everything feel so uncertain? Why am I praying but still afraid? Why does peace feel so far away? And slowly, faith starts to feel heavy. Prayer feels harder than before. Hope feels fragile. And silence feels uncomfortable. If you've been there, or if you're there right now, listen carefully. God is not distant. God is not late. And God is not confused about your life. And tonight, he's speaking to you through this psalm. Because this psalm is not a coincidence. Before we go any further, I want you to do something simple with me. Not dramatic, not symbolic, just human. Take a slow breath. Inhale gently. Hold it for a moment. And exhale slowly. Not to relax, but to arrive. Because this moment, right now, is not random. You didn't stumble into this psalm. You were led here. And sometimes God doesn't shout. Sometimes he whispers. The psalm you're about to hear was written in a moment of uncertainty, not in comfort, not in abundance, but in a season where trust was a daily decision, a time when the future wasn't clear, when danger felt close, when fear was real. And yet, this psalm doesn't panic. It doesn't rush. It doesn't beg. It rests. And that's why it still speaks today. Because anxiety has changed forms, but fear hasn't changed its voice. People thousands of years ago worried about safety, provision, direction, and tomorrow, just like you, just like me. And that's why this psalm is not a coincidence for your life tonight. In the modern world, we're surrounded by noise, notifications, news, opinions, expectations. Everyone wants something from you. Your time, your energy, your attention. And slowly, without noticing, your soul gets tired. We worry about money. We worry about the future. We worry about relationships. We worry about making the wrong decision and ruining everything. And when fear grows, trust shrinks. But this psalm doesn't deny fear. It reframes it. It doesn't say life will be easy. It says you won't be alone. And sometimes that's all your soul needs to hear. If your heart feels heavy tonight, this psalm is for you. If you're facing decisions you don't feel ready to make, this psalm is for you. If you've been praying quietly, wondering if God still listens, this psalm is for you, because this psalm is not a coincidence. Stay with me. In the next part, we will read the psalm slowly, word by word, with space to breathe, space to feel, and space to listen. And as you listen, don't rush. Let the words meet you where you are. Before I read the psalm, let me remind you of something important. Don't listen in a hurry. Don't multitask. Don't rush these words. Let them land, one line at a time, because this psalm is not a coincidence. Tonight, we are reading Psalm 23, not as poetry, not as tradition, but as a message spoken directly to the season you are living right now. Take another slow breath and listen. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He is not distant. He is not distracted. He is guiding. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters, not rush waters, not violent waters, still waters. Peace that doesn't force itself. Peace that waits for you to arrive. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake, not because you earned it, not because you were perfect, but because restoration is part of who he is. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Notice something here. It doesn't say if you walk through the valley. It says though you walk through it, meaning valleys are a part of the journey, but they are not the destination. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Not after the enemies are gone, not when life is quiet, but in their presence. Provision doesn't wait for perfect conditions. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Let that last line breathe. All the days, not just the good ones, not just the strong ones, all of them. If your heart feels heavy tonight, this psalm is for you. If you've been walking through uncertainty, this psalm is for you. If fear has been louder than faith, this psalm is for you, because this psalm is not a coincidence. Don't analyze it yet. Don't explain it away. Just sit with it, because in the next part, we're going to talk about why this psalm still speaks so clearly to modern life, why anxiety, fear, money worries, and hard decisions are all answered quietly inside these verses, and why maybe the peace you've been looking for is close. Before I read this psalm, I need you to understand something. This is not a psalm you rush. This is a psalm you enter. So wherever you are right now, slow down. Lower the volume of your thoughts. Let the words do the work, because this psalm is not a coincidence. Tonight, we are reading Psalm 91, King James Version. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Not visits, not passes through, dwells. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in him will I trust, not because life is easy, but because God is stable. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence, from traps you can't see, from dangers you don't expect. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Covered, shielded, held. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that fleeth by day. Night fears, day fears, both named, both answered. Nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. Fear doesn't need light to exist, but it doesn't survive truth. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. This is not denial. This is protection. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold, and see the reward of the wicked. Justice doesn't rush, but it arrives, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation, where you live spiritually. Changes how fear reaches you. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. Your peace is not fragile, it is guarded, for he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. You are not as alone as you feel. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Even your steps are watched. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder. The young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Fear is loud, but it is not king, because he hath set his love upon me. Therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. Love activates protection. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. Notice this. God does not promise a life without trouble. He promises presence inside it. With long life will I satisfy him, and shew him my salvation. If your heart feels heavy tonight, this psalm is for you. If fear visits you more at night, this psalm is for you. If you've been praying for protection, peace, and reassurance, this psalm is for you. Because this psalm is not a coincidence. Don't move yet. In the next part, we will talk about why Psalm 91 speaks so directly to modern anxiety. Why fear at night, uncertainty about the future, and the feeling of being unprotected are all answered inside this psalm, and how to apply this protection in real life, not as superstition, but as trust. Now, let's bring this psalm into real life, not theology, not theory, life, because psalms were never meant to stay on paper. They were meant to walk with people through fear. And if you listen carefully, Psalm 91 didn't talk about a perfect world. It talked about danger, night, uncertainty, and trouble. Sound familiar? There shall no evil befall thee. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night. Notice this. The psalm doesn't pretend night fear doesn't exist. It names it. Night is when anxiety gets bold, when thoughts replay louder, when the future feels heavier. During the day, we're distracted. At night, we're honest. Psalm 91 speaks directly to that moment, when you're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering how everything got so complicated. And God says quietly, firmly, you are not unprotected. You are not exposed. You are not alone. If fear has been visiting you at night, this psalm is not a coincidence. The psalm talks about snares, pestilence, arrows. In ancient times, those were physical dangers. Today, they're emotional. Fear of losing stability, fear of making the wrong decision, fear of not being enough, fear of tomorrow. Anxiety is the modern terror by night. And Psalm 91 doesn't tell you to control everything. It tells you where to dwell. He that dwelleth in the secret place. Anxiety lives in what if. Peace lives in where you dwell. If your mind has been living everywhere, except in trust, this psalm is calling you back. Because this psalm is not a coincidence. One of the most misunderstood ideas in faith is protection. Protection does not mean nothing bad ever happens. The psalm itself says, I will be with him in trouble, not I will remove all trouble. God doesn't promise insulation from life. He promises presence inside it. That means you may still face uncertainty. You may still walk through difficult seasons. You may still feel afraid sometimes, but you are not walking uncovered. Angels, guidance, restraint you don't see, doors that close without explanation to protect you. Some things you never suffered, only because God stopped them quietly. And you'll never know how much he saved you from. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. This isn't poetry, it's direction. If you're facing a decision right now about work, money, relationships, or direction, and fear is screaming, this psalm reminds you, you don't walk alone into decisions. Even when clarity feels missing, protection is still active. Sometimes God doesn't remove confusion immediately because trust is being built quietly, and trust always comes before clarity. If your heart feels heavy tonight, this psalm is for you. If anxiety has been louder than peace, this psalm is for you. If you're standing at a crossroads, unsure of the next step, this psalm is for you, because this psalm is not a coincidence. Before we continue, I want to invite you to do something simple. In the comments, write just one word, dwell. Not for me, for you. A reminder of where your soul is choosing to live, not in fear, not in panic, but in trust. And if this psalm is speaking to you, stay until the end, because in the next part, we'll enter a gentle repetition and prayerful loop designed to calm your mind, steady your heart, and let peace settle naturally. Now, don't rush away. This is the part where we don't add new ideas. We don't explain. We remain, because sometimes the soul doesn't need more information. It needs assurance. And tonight, that assurance comes through repetition, because this psalm is not a coincidence. Listen again, slowly. You are not unprotected. You are not forgotten. You are not walking alone. Even when you don't feel it, God is near. Even when fear speaks, God covers. Even when the night feels long, God remains. If your heart feels heavy tonight, this psalm is for you. If anxiety tried to convince you that you are alone, this psalm is for you. If you needed reassurance but didn't know how to ask, this psalm is for you. Because this psalm is not a coincidence. Let's pray together now. You don't need perfect words. You don't need strength, just honesty. God, tonight, I choose to dwell in you. I bring you my fears, the ones I talk about and the ones I hide. I bring you my tired mind, my anxious thoughts, my unanswered questions. You see what keeps me awake. You know what I'm afraid to face tomorrow. And still, you promise to cover me. So tonight, I release control. I release panic. I release the need to understand everything. I choose trust, not because life is easy, but because you are faithful. Guard my mind as I rest. Calm my thoughts as I breathe. Protect my heart as I sleep. If danger is near, keep it far. If fear returns, replace it with peace. If anxiety rises, remind me where I dwell. I place myself under your shadow, not for a moment, but for the night, for tomorrow, for all my days. Amen. Stay here a little longer. Let the silence speak. Let the words echo softly. You don't have to leave yet. If your heart feels heavy tonight, this psalm is for you. If peace hasn't arrived yet, stay. Sometimes peace doesn't rush in, it settles. And as it settles, remember, you didn't find this psalm by chance. You didn't listen by accident, because this psalm is not a coincidence. If you're still listening, type, I choose to dwell in the comments, not to prove faith, but to declare direction. And if this prayer brought peace to your heart, stay connected. There are more psalms, more nights of rest, more reminders that you are not alone. You can let this video play again. You can fall asleep listening. You are safe, because this psalm is not a coincidence.